Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and we're in beautiful Stonington, Connecticut, right by Mystic, Connecticut. Fantastic place to visit with Mystic Seaport and all the coastline. It's just gorgeous here. And anywhere in New England, you can find some really amazing nature, wonderful sights, all kinds of cool stuff. But even cool places like New England, there's stuff you're going to love and stuff you're going to hate. And that's why today what we have for you are the 5 things you're going to love and hate about visiting New England. Now, New England's got so many great things to see, so I'm going to start here in Connecticut just to say hey, and we'll go throughout New England to give you some more of the love and hate. So, there you go. So, we're in Concord, New Hampshire now, and so what are the things you're not going to like about New England? Now, the first thing you're not going to like is the driving, because I-95 is always packed. Even if it's a Sunday in the summer or a Tuesday in the winter, there's always tons of traffic, and you're going to get really freaked out by it. And it's not just I-95, all the big major highways, also driving the back roads, there's always tons of traffic. So have patience, and no matter what Google tells you the time frame is, add some extra time onto it, because it will get frustrating. So we advise you with the driving things, plan it out so you don't hit Boston at 5 o'clock. Hit Boston at 2 o'clock in the afternoon instead. Take the back roads. Instead of I-95, take US 1. I mean, it's some beautiful views you can see while you're driving, but just be ready, because the driving can be a bit crazy. Also, the signage in some of the places in New England aren't so good. I'm talking to you, Rhode Island. Oh my God, it was so frustrating. So, and also you have a lot of smaller roads and smaller parking spots, so just be prepared for that, because there's so many great things and great towns here in New England that does get kind of smushed together, so a little bit less space, more traffic, all kinds of stuff. So that's the first thing you're gonna hate, is the driving, okay? The second thing you're not gonna like about coming to New England is the fact that it is expensive. It's more expensive than if you're gonna go to the Midwest or the Southeast or the South or Southwest even, or the Northwest. I mean, I find in all of our travels, New England's been pretty much the most expensive region in terms of places to stay, going out to eat, and things like that. Now, there are some good deals, so book hotels early, or what we like to do is go to bed and breakfasts, because you can get a good deal there. Great food, good experience, lots of travel advice and stuff, but things are pricey, so you really have to book it in advance. For the hotels, yes, you can find some last minute things, but just know it can be tough. And the thing is the expensive part gets really high in the summer, because so many tourists come from all over the US and the world. I've seen Germans, Dutch, and Italians just this morning in our hotel here in Concord, and so just be prepared for that. So that's the second thing you're not going to like about New England, is it is kind of an expensive place to go. Now, the third thing you might not like about New England, and this is one of those ones that the more you think about it, you understand it. And some people will call it like the New England shield, okay? They'll say that the people aren't super friendly. But the thing is, imagine you had all these tourists coming all the time. It does kind of wear on you. And I will say, their tourist infrastructure is very well done, and the people are very helpful when you ask for help. And in a lot of the places, if you don't know, people say, oh, do you need some help? But if you try to get to know the people, sometimes they kind of put a little shield down and won't let you get to know them. But once you do get to get to know New England people, they are fantastic. They'll invite you to their homes. They'll tell you all the stuff you want to know about every town out here. I mean, yesterday we met this fantastic lady, Lynn, who literally gave us the entire tourist guide book for South Maine, and it was fantastic. And so the people are nice, but you're not going to like them at first because of the driving and the brusqueness sometimes. Then this New England shield, you might not think they're very friendly, but they really are. But as a tourist, that might be something that kind of puts you off at first. But so it's kind of a hate, but it's one of those things you'll figure out as you go. Now, the fourth thing you're not going to like about when you come to New England is the seasonality. Now, I'm going to put a lot of things in here, because part of it's great, part of it's not so great. When I talk about the seasons, look at summer here in New England. It's gorgeous. It's never too hot. I mean, I'm here in shorts and a t-shirt. I'm not sweating for once in one of my videos. You know, it's got great weather in the summer, you know, all this fantastic stuff, but it's also packed full of tourists in the summer, and that can get a bit frustrating, okay? Looking for lodging, the roads get packed like I talked about, and things like that. Second thing, it doesn't stop in the summer. In the fall, when the leaves change here, and I'll talk about that in the loves, it is just gorgeous seeing all the trees changing and the leaves changing, but then even more tourists come to watch those, so that gets frustrating. And then if you look at the seasonality of the winter here, guys, winter in New England is winter. It's 6 to 8 months of cold, snow, ice, You know, if you're not used to driving in that kind of weather, I don't recommend you coming here because it can be a bit dangerous. You know, we're from Illinois, so we're used to the ice and snow and these kind of things, so it doesn't really bother us. But if you're not used to it, be careful, okay? So what's the fifth thing you're not gonna like about coming to New England?
And the fifth thing you're not going to like about coming to New England, oh, that's the State House in Concord, New Hampshire. And the fifth thing you're not going to like about coming to New England is, well, how can I say this? The remoteness and lack of cell phone coverage. I mean, the woods, the forests, the back roads, the mountains, the lakes, watching the leaves change. Oh, it's just amazingly beautiful. But it does have a drawback, especially if you're taking the back roads, and especially if you're using, you know, map apps like Google Maps or MapQuest, because you'll notice your cell phone coverage will drop every so often. So 4 bars to 1 bar to no bars to 2 bars, and maybe the 4G or 3G drops off. Okay, and also if there's no signal, you can't really call for directions. So what I recommend is make sure you have a good physical map. You know those old-fashioned maps you buy at a gas station? It sounds silly, but make sure you have one. Another thing I recommend is if you're going to be driving to another place, you know, you're going to Bar Harbor, Maine from Concord here, what I would do is call your hotel, or preferably call your bed and breakfast, because the bed and breakfasts and the cottages in New England are just amazing, okay? Call them and let them know, hey, I'm coming from Concord to Bar Harbor. I'm thinking I'm going to get there about 6. You know, and ask, is there a better way you think I should go than I-95? And usually the owners of the B&B, I mean, they're always really friendly. They'll give you some advice. Hey, you know, take this road instead of this road to kind of help you out. So ask them so they give you better directions. But just know, your cell phone coverage is going to drop off. I mean, you're going to lose it, especially if you're in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, the really like rugged parts of New England, it will drop off. But let's be honest, those are just 5 little things you might not like. And I'll be honest, my family, we have loved it here. We were in Vermont visiting our friends, drinking Vermont beer. Before I just, you know, have my like hissy fit of loving this place, let's get into the 5 things you're going to love.
So, the 5 things you're going to love about coming to New England. Well, we're in Acadia National Park here in Maine and New England, and it is beautiful here. And let's get started. The first thing you're going to love about coming to New England are the towns and the architecture. You're going to see all these beautiful small seaside towns and mountain towns all over the place. Whether you're going to places like Mystic, Connecticut to see the Mystic Seaport, or if you're heading, you know, into New Hampshire, heck, you go to Concord. There's a great little small town there, which is also the capital, and we went there for market days. There's all kinds of great things in the towns around here. Great festivals and fairs and all kinds of stuff, antiquing. But for us, it's the beautiful architecture and the beautiful homes they have throughout New England that are just to die for. And yes, when we talk about towns, you got to think about the biggest city here, Boston. Fantastic for the history and just the full city of it. And you'll see all the Red Sox fans or Yankee fans. People really like to say if they're Red Sox or Yankees fans up here in New England. But you're going to love the towns and the cities here and the architecture that's in them. Now, the second thing you're going to love about New England is the history here. If you want to go to the Battle of Lexington and Concord or see the Boston Harbor where we had the Boston Tea Party, New England is where the history of America was made, and they've done a great job of preserving this with historic preservation, with having living museums and interpreters that help you understand the climate that happened and the climate it was here in America during the Revolution and all the things beside the revolutions. The revolution that happened here in New England, and the history part is fantastic. The third thing you're going to love about coming to New England is the food. Yes, the seafood. Guys, yes, when you're in Maine, you are going to eat lobster. Have lobster or lobster rolls. If you're in, you know, you're going to have fried clams or steamed clams. Or when you're in Connecticut, you're going to have crab cakes. Heck, you're going to have crab cakes pretty much anywhere. We went to a place called Common Man, which is a chain in New Hampshire. Fantastic crab cakes there. But you are going to eat seafood like you've never imagined before in the US. And what's great is if you're from the Midwest, you know, you're coming here thinking, oh, well, seafood's expensive. Here, the seafood is not as expensive as you have in the Midwest, so you actually get to have these fantastic meals at relatively affordable prices. Now, it's not cheap, but it's a lot less expensive than in the Midwest. But the food here is fantastic. Whether you're going down the road, going to a stop to have, you know, a lobster roll, or having the crab cakes, or having the clams, or the seafood, or any of the magnificent food here, you are going to love that. And with the food, one of the things that's really cool about up here in New England, there's a lot of microbreweries, and a lot of the towns we've stopped at, they have their own beer. It's like I'm back in Germany. We have our local brew. So whenever you go to the restaurants, 1, always eat seafood, and 2, ask what's the local beer. And some restaurants actually have their own beer brewed for them from these microbrews, so it is really fantastic. The 4th thing you're gonna love about coming to New England, look behind me. This is Acadia National Park, okay? This isn't even the prettiest view of Acadia National Park. When you go throughout New England, whether you're going to Stove in the mountains in Vermont, or you're going to Mystic Seaport in Mystic, Connecticut with a coastline, or anywhere along the coast here in Maine, nature is magnificent here in New England, and you're gonna love it. You come here in the summer, yes, there's tons of tourists, but it's because it's so beautiful. Come here in the fall to see the leaves change. It's gorgeous. You want to have a true white Christmas? You come up here to New England. It is fantastic. Taking in all this nature. Lots of great biking, lots of great hiking, skiing, all kinds of fantastic stuff. Sailing, swimming, it's just fantastic. And the 5th thing you're going to love about New England is the people. Now, I know I said you might not like the people at first, but they actually are really helpful. I'll be honest with you. The people in New England during our trip, we've been here for a few weeks driving around, everyone has been so fantastic, so helpful, so friendly. I mean, we were in Concord, New Hampshire at their market days, and literally we had 15 people just come up out of the blue just to chat with us, okay? We were down in Camden, Maine. The same thing happened. The people in New England make New England. No, it's not the accents that do it. It's how kind of wonderful they are to people, and though they can seem a bit rough on the outside, but that's more when you go to the bigger cities kind of things, the bigger towns. When you get to know them, they are super friendly, and if you don't know them, they are very helpful for tourists. And actually, I've really enjoyed the people here so much that, honestly, we're looking to find universities here to work, because they're just that wonderful here. So I hope you loved your 5 love and hates in New England. It's a fantastic place to visit. Yes, the tourists can get a little overbearing, and the traffic and all the winters and all these kind of things, but it is beautiful here. Well worth going to check out. And if you want to learn more about visiting New England, please check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. We've got 10 things you want to see here in Mystic and Stonington. We've got things you love and hate about here and all kinds of great stuff. Anyway, if you have more things you love and hate about New England, please put it in our comment section below. We always like to grow our lists. Anyway, have a great time in New England. It is fantastic. And bye from Stonington, Connecticut. Bye.